A pleasant welcome to Weekend Review. I'm Edo Atama anchoring this edition of the program, and the top stories we're following. President George Manawia urges new agriculture minister to take practical steps to develop the sector. Government makes an initial 500,000 United States dollars toward the conduct of national census. Health authorities say there is no case of coronavirus in the country despite report of a case in Liberia. Vice President Joa Howard Taylor launched the Improving Results in Secondary Education Arise program in the country. These are the developments we're following after this break. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. As part of activities leading to the conduct of the national census, the Liberia Institute for Statistics and Geoinformation Services, along with its partners, has begun a 3-week training of feed mapping assistants in Kakata, Magibe County. Giving an overview during the opening of the training, Legis Director General Dr. Francis Rare urged the assistants to be in readiness for the exercise despite the delay in the conduct of the census.
The census has experienced some significant delays due to untimely and inadequate funding. This is one reason why Liberia has gone beyond the nationally stated 10-year periodicity of census taking, as enshrined in Article 39 of the 1986 Constitution of Liberia. Notwithstanding, we are still operating within the 2020 round of population housing censuses, run from 2015 to 2024, as cherished in the United Nations Principles and Recommendations for Census Taking. We base our target towards our people in but we are still within the 2020 round of censuses. The Liberian Institute of Statistics and Geoinformation Services, for short, LIGIS, in collaboration and support from Lntv, developed a comprehensive census project document that serves as source for support and resource mobilization for all processes of the census taking. It is hoped that the document will assist in resource mobilization, especially from development partners, to participate in this massive project with the current global challenges. The geographic planning exercise will lay the basis for the successful conduct of the integration of the population. It is the first legal activity in the implementation of any census under best practice.
Also making remarks at the program, an official of UNFPA Liberia, Mr. Abraham Sise, outlined some of the benefits the population census will bring to Liberia.
The census of population and housing is the largest peacetime undertaking of a government. If you are at war, war will be your preoccupation. But when you have peace, the largest thing a government can do is this activity, which we are fast-tracking beginning today. It entails going to every house, every homestead, every hamlet, every village, every town, every city, everywhere within the four corners of the Republic of Liberia, and demarcating all structures, whether people sleep in them or not, And all human beings whose numbers we can count. At the end of the day, it is this data that the government requires to be able to plan for the development of a country. The government cannot just go about spending money. The government needs to know why it is spending money. The government wants to make a road, but they have only $10 million. The government will have to prioritize where this road should go to. There are certain things the government will have to look at. How many people will be served by this road? What is the economic importance of the places where this road will pass through?
For his part, the senior analyst at the Ministry of Finance said the Liberian government has made available an initial amount of $500,000 towards the census conduct in Liberia.
We have not much for 500,000 to start this process. And this current budget year, we have increased that to $1 million. Intended because the census is a document that is most useful to the government and its partner. And in that case, whatever to secure $1 million, it shows that all the preparatory processes leading to the full census is on the way. They are also clear that for 2021 budget, there will be additional money beyond $1 million to ensure that the census, as we have proposed to the National Legislature, will have the census conducted in 2021. That we can show and in fact on our projects, the public investment projects, we treat the sector as one of the priority projects. So that must be noted here today. The reason for which the proposal of the extension was made is quite because we are lacking here with the census process, and as such, we needed to take up time, find resources, look for additional partners that will be able to support this initiative.
As the coronavirus outbreak continues in China and major airlines flying between Liberia and China suspending flights, the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications has temporarily suspended all mail services to China. Posts and Telecommunications Minister Councillor Kopokra told the station Monday that the ministry took the action to safeguard against incurring loss from overstay parcels that might get damaged at the ministry. We don't seem to have that one coming, so we'll go to our next development where EU Ambassador to Liberia, Lntv, says the EU is pleased with its partnership with the government of Liberia. Speaking at the launch of the EU-Liberia Partnership Campaign for Young Media Practitioners, Ambassador Carvey said the aim of the project is to tell the story of EU operations across Liberia.
I am confident that your different experiences and backgrounds will be very inspiring and enriching for yourselves as young media professionals, as well as for Europeans and Liberians hearing and reading your story in the short future. I hope that these stories will allow Liberia to be painted more positively outside than it is the case sometimes, unfortunately. Liberia deserves attention. Liberia has so much to offer, so you will be our ambassadors outside. When I was young, at your age, I would have loved really to come to Africa, to a country, to work with my counterpart in this country and do something. So at that time, when I was young, so long time ago, this did not exist. So this is something you are very lucky to have the possibility to experience. Beyond our well-established political relations with Liberia, and I would like to mention that very recently, I think 10 days ago, we had the biannual political dialogue between the EU and Liberia. The EU has been assisting the country for a long time with a multi-sectoral approach. Roads and energy infrastructure, gender equality and women empowerment, economic governance, including budget support, education, support to elections, agriculture, fisheries, or
Well, it benefiting journalists from Liberia and Europe to report stories of the EU's operation in Liberia for about 1 month had been urged to uphold the ethics of the profession. Information Minister Eugene Nangwe encouraged the reporters to ensure the contents of their work portray a positive image of Liberia and the European Union. We don't also seem to have that one coming. Liberian business people trading between Liberia and China have expressed solidarity with China as the country battles the deadly coronavirus. The business people under the banner China Shopping Center on Monday presented a solidarity statement to staff of the Chinese embassy in Congo Town. Sa Kwengba is the president of the group.
We are aware that this period is very critical in the history of your country, China. This move is in recognition of the stand and mutual relationship Liberia continues to enjoy with the People's Republic of China. As you may recall, when Liberia suffered similar deadly Ebola virus, you stood by us providing medical supply, equipment, infrastructure, ETUs were built. This is a true manifestation of a goodwill from the people of China to Liberia. We are also aware of the numerous contributions you have made to our government through road networks, infrastructure development, education, manpower development, and so on, which are worth noting here. As we gather here today as business people, we would like to assure you that we share your pains and aspirations in curbing this deadly enemy virus disease. In this light, we encourage our government to remain positively engaged with the People's Republic of China, who remain vital to Liberia's development. In conclusion, we would like to assure you, the people of China, that we are with you in faith, prayer, especially your health workers, who demonstrate the utmost sacrifice in saving lives. It is with their conviction and love that we are issuing this statement of solidarity, and we are also admonishing you to be resilient as you deal with this national calamity.
Receiving the statement, the Economic and Commercial Counselor at the Chinese Embassy, Li Tian, thanked the business people for remembering China.
We have the confidence. We have the confidence. I think our friends believe our Chinese government have the confidence to fighting, to achieve the victory, the successful about the virus, the coronavirus. Okay, and thank you our friends, Liberia friends, businessmen, and concerning our government and concerning our Chinese person to fighting the virus. We have the confidence. Okay, thank you so much. You know, our the level of our China government, Mr. President Xi Jinping and the others, Premier Li Keqiang and the others of the high level, the highest level, concerning about the fighting the virus. In the very short time, they have to hold the very important meeting and the committee and to improve how to improve the fighting the virus in the Liberia, in the Hubei and in Wuhan and the whole China. I think we have got the positive. It's very successful positive to fighting.
The National Elections Commission Tuesday appeared at the Liberian Senate to give updates on the pending midterm senatorial elections. Our legislative reporter Cecilia Clark was in session, and from there she files in this report.
Ahead of the October 2020 midterm senatorial election, the National Election Commission has revealed that there is no money for the conduct of the election. The revelation comes as a result of the appearance of the NEC Board of Commissioners at the Liberian Senate Tuesday. NEC Commissioner Jerome Kokoya also gave update regarding the orders of the Supreme Court relative to the final registration rule, FFR, among others.
Where we are right now, we are doing those things that do not require money. Okay, that's what we're doing. But the things that require money, like sending for OMR forms and the rest of it, we're not doing those. We're still waiting. Okay? Senator Cooper said, one of the Minister of Finance gave us some date respect to when they will be coming back to us. The last conversation I had with the minister, he said that there's no money in the budget for the election. So what they were doing is they can't commit anything without coming back to you to get authority from you. So they were coming back to you to get authority to look elsewhere. So we're still waiting for that.
But what are the consequences if the midterm election is delayed?
If elections are not held, it's not because of the inefficiency or ineffectiveness of the election commission. It is the failure of the institutions that are set up to provide them the resources. I think what they have done by coming today, they have further indicted the legislature, the government, that we have failed to do what we need to do.
Following deliberations, Lofa County Senator George Tembe pleaded with his colleagues to cite the finance ministry.
Owing to the crucial matter that we have on hand, I move that the plenary of the Liberian Senate mandate the Secretary of the Liberian Senate to invite the Minister of Finance and Development Planning to cite the Minister of Finance and Development Planning on Thursday of this week.
With barely 7 months to the conduct of the midterm senatorial election, according to Commissioner Jonathan Wieder, if voters' registration is not completed by 30th May, the possibility of conducting the election on time will be slim. This is Cecilia Clark reporting from the Liberian Senate.
President George Manawiya has commissioned Agriculture Minister Janine Cooper and urged her to develop the agriculture sector for an increase in food productivity and boost the agro-business. He spoke briefly before commissioning Minister Cooper at his Foreign Ministry office.
Disappoint us. You have asked me for my vision, and I've told you that I will, first of all, want our nation to be able to feed itself and invest in agribusiness. And you have promised me, if that is all I want, I will have it in the shortest possible time.
I, Janine Mele Cooper,
Do solemnly swear,
hold,
protect,
the Republic of Liberia,
bear true faith,
and
allegiance to the Republic,
allegiance to the Republic,
and will faithfully, conscientiously, and impartially, of the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
For her part, Agriculture Minister Janine Cooper praised the soil of Liberia as healthy and nutritious.
President Weah, as I told you that day when I talked with you, I will not let you down. I know that expectations are high. I don't think expectations are higher than what I expect of myself. The agriculture sector at this point in time has been facing many challenges. And in fact, when you talk about agriculture, it's always the challenges that come first. However, the president has painted for me a vision, and it's a vision that I share. of the opportunities that Liberian agriculture has to bring to the table. The opportunities of we are small, but we are mighty, and we are resilient, and we are determined. We have the opportunity that the world is moving towards organic, healthy, nutritious food products, and we, you can call it a dividend of the war, have not been putting pesticides or fertilizer or chemicals or dangerous things in our soil. So we have a virgin soil, and our products that we produce here in this country are better and superior to every other country in the region, and I dare say.
If you're just coming our way, you're watching Week in Review is a production of the Liberia National Television here in Painesville. And the top stories we're following, President George Weah urges new agriculture minister to take practical steps to develop the agriculture sector. Government makes an initial 500,000 United States dollars available toward the conduct of the national population census. Health authorities in Liberia say there is no case of coronavirus in the country. Vice President Joel Howard Taylor launched the Improving Results in Secondary Education ARAS program in Liberia. More developments are still ahead. After this break, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back to the program. Liberian Chief Executive George Weah has submitted to the Liberian Senate two financial instruments for ratification. The financial instruments include an agreement to the financing agreement on Free Corps Extension Project signed between Liberia and the International Monetary Fund and the African Development Bank. Genevieve Masakwe is the Deputy Secretary of the Liberian Senate. She read the President's communication in plenary Tuesday.
Dear Mr. President Contemporary, I am pleased to submit to your honorable body for ratification financial agreement, Small Agricultural Transformation and Agribusiness Revitalization Project, STAR-P, signed between the Republic of Liberia and International Fund for Agricultural Development. This agreement was signed by the parties in Italy on November 12, 2019, and in Monrovia on November 21, 2019. In the agreement, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, the RFAD, has agreed to co-finance the STAR-P in the amount of $23 million United States dollars, for which $16,790,000 United States dollars is a loan and $6,210,000 United States dollars is a grant. The loan amount is free of interest but bears a service charge of 1.46% per annum, payable semi-annually. To make the corporate laws of Liberia current and competitive with the laws of other jurisdictions, a full review was undertaken with the participation of non-resident corporate community, the Liberian Corporate Regulatory Community, the Ministry of Justice, and the Law Reform Commission, as well as the relevant Liberian corporate and maritime.
The construction of a 100 housing unit is to shortly begin in Grand Juda County. This is because President George Weah has approved the project to be implemented by the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, LACE. Deputy Presidential Press Secretary Smith Toby has been explaining more during Tuesday's Executive Mansion press briefing.
We want to report to you that the President has approved 100 housing unit for Grand Juda County. That is in continuation of those housing projects that you see in the Popo Beach, in Saxtown. The Liberian Agency for Community Empowerment LACE is taking a team to Grand Juda as of this week to do the assessment as to where they will place those 100 housing units. It is going to be the president way of reaching out to counties. That project is also expected to cut across all of the 15 counties. But the president is taking it one day at a time. So we've sat down now on completed. And with Popo Beach phase 1 and phase 2 nearing completion, Grand Jita County 100 housing unit assessment team leaves the capital this week, and they will immediately start.
Government has paid tribute to fallen Liberian journalist Zeno Mela and sympathized with his family. Speaking Wednesday, Information Minister Eugene Nangwe said government intends to avoid controversies surrounding the fallen journalist and respect the dead.
But I have to say something briefly about the fact that the government is also interested in letting the world to know that aside from the incident at the complex, if there were other issues that led to the death, I don't have the professional capacity to determine what killed him. I have to rely first on what the family has said. And though the government had intended to conduct an autopsy, we listened to the family and we tabled that idea of doing an autopsy as was requested by several local and international bodies, including the President of Nigeria in his press statement. So we tabled it because of the family.
Education Minister Ansu Soni has stressed the need to instill discipline in Liberian schools, especially among teachers. Minister Soni said that can be achieved as government is working out modalities to institute a thorough monitoring system in public schools. He spoke in an interview with this station.
This particular year, we want to use 2018-2019 academic year as a basis for determining a baseline data of students from first semester to second semester, student who passed, student who dropped, student who, whatever the case is. So that data is currently ongoing. We are hoping that by end of May, we should have a full scope detailed data on all students in the country, and we also now ongoing is the number of schools in the country, the condition of those schools, and there's an application right now electronically developed to grade the school by categories from A straight to F. So it will now give us the ability to determine which school to put more emphasis on in terms of monitoring. But basically that's what it is. The most difficult challenge in the whole education sector is the management of the personnel.
Okay.
Management of the personnel.
What about that?
Well, at the same time, Minister Soni said government has mobilized funding to rehabilitate public schools across the country.
Every secondary school in this country that is government owned is going to be 100% rehabilitated.
Every secondary school
that owned by government.
Okay.
Government secondary school. They will be 100% rehabilitated. Not only that, we are going to the places that have large populations.
Okay.
And those large population places, we're going to put 3 new model schools for secondary school. Then there are districts, school districts in this country that have only junior high school. And there are 25 of them. Those 25 districts we identify, some of them got 6 junior high schools, 7 junior high schools. We look for the one that is best situated between them, and we elevate that, develop it, and elevate it to 12th grade so that that education district has a high school. Well, the job is we got to simultaneously while the schools are being built, we're preparing the teachers to be able to take those places. So
the Forestry Development Authority has announced some measures it has put in place to enhance the revenue generating capacity of the institution. FDA Managing Director Mark Doyen said they have introduced electronic payment system through mobile money, which has led to massive jump in the collection of fees. He spoke Wednesday at a news conference in Painesville.
You know, December, when the money mobile regime was introduced, we raised 5.224 million loss, plus an additional $840,000 through direct deposit because it was in the transitional period. So everybody, trying to move from the old system of direct deposit to the mobile money. So 800 some more thousand was raised, sent directly to our operational account. You add the 800,000 plus the 500 and some more, I think we probably will be around 6 million or something else. So if you follow what I've said from the past, no December here reach 5 million. No December, I go back so we understand. December 2014, 3 million. December.
At the same time, Mr. Doyen said the collection of fees by FDA is backed by the act establishing the entity and dismayed suggestion that FDA is usurping the function of the Liberia Revenue Authority.
We've closed the hole and we're raising a lot of money, and so now they come here after that. They cannot because we got laws. The laws give us that power. We are SOE, established by law. We can raise money and spend money. And in addition to that, in March 2017, the Supreme Court of Liberia, go to the Supreme Court, in the case FDA Workers Union versus FDA, they confirm our authority to collect money and spend money. That's the Supreme Court ruling. It's a country, the Supreme Court interprets the law. So LRA is not a legal institution. It's not a law. It's not an institution that interprets law. It's the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court has done that interpretation. And our actions and our activities are on the basis of the interpretation of the law by the Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, March 2017. So the LRA, I've given the government of Liberia $8 million.
Health authorities say there is no coronavirus case in Liberia. The clarification by health authorities is in response to a report by Front Page Africa claiming that a coronavirus infected lady from China is on the run in the country. Speaking to the station Thursday, the acting director general of the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, NPHIL, Dr. Mosoka Fala, described the report as a rumor with no iota of truth.
So that's just a rumor. We have not had any confirmed case here or a suspect case. We had on February 10, we had an alert case at a Liberian, but he got picked up immediately at the airport in Accra. They kept him all night. They tested him. He was negative. They put him in the plane. He came back. We also picked him up. He was now well. We took him to our isolation center. We still were not even relying on Ghana result alone. We repeated a second test. We treated him now. He's well, and he went home 3 days ago. So there will be no reason we have a suspect case. If we're able to report just an alert case, there will be no reason for us to have a confirmed or a suspected case here, and we keep it to ourselves. We need a public to join us to do it. So this was a rumor. We spoke to the Chinese themselves, the Chinese embassy staff. They spoke to us that this was a rumor. It was started by a Malaysian Chinese. They tried to reach out to her, and she's not even responding to their calls.
Yeah. So Dr. Fala, this exactly is something worrisome now because according to the WHO situation.
Vice President Joel Hawatila is urging education authorities in Liberia to build dormitories at schools to keep the students, especially the females, in schools. Launching the Improving Results in Secondary Education ARISE project, VP Taylor urged tertiary institutions to allow 12th graders to sit university entrances while in high school.
Sometimes it's not about building new schools, and Joe and I have been arguing about that.
I said to him, what's happening to the schools we built before? Are they effective? Are they being utilized the way they should? If not, then we must go back, or else all of the millions of dollars, I believe each of those schools might have cost a minimum of $500,000 or more. If it is not providing the intent for which they were built, then I think we're losing out in a lot of ways. So I would like to suggest, Mr. Minister of Education and our Rural Agriculture Manager, that they be looked at. To the Minister of Education, I have a few requests, is a special plea that you consider. First, that an assessment be done of the current curriculum. We're talking about learning outcomes and why they are so low. Our children are being left behind for an entire year. In any other country in the world, the exams are given maybe in December and in March, while the young people are still in school. So that those who graduate in June know where they're going, those who make it. But young people have to graduate first and then take the test. We are losing one entire year. During that year, many children just go back to doing all kinds of things, and the education that has been put into our best environments are sometimes left aside. They end up going into vocational skills training and doing all kinds of things, but we want, I think, an opportunity for them to take the exams while they are in the 12th grade, which is the way it should be, so that when you graduate, you know you've been accepted at the University of Liberia, or TU, or Huntington. On behalf of His Excellency, President George Manuel, and the Ministry of Education, and our entire government and people, to officially launch the I-RISE project for Liberia under UNDP.
Making remarks earlier, Education Minister Professor Ansu Soni said the I-RISE project will address prolonged problems in the education sector.
The challenges in senior secondary education in Liberia are many. Narrating them will take the rest of the program. But it's clear. And these challenges must not remain. The problems of the past are now history. History does not bring development. History is a lesson that teaches how not to do what you did before wrongly. And therefore, it's a guide. So we are prepared, therefore, to pick up the pieces that are left from whoever had come before us. Make progress. And progress we shall make. Ladies and gentlemen, there are a number of statistical information dealing with the whole education sector. Enrollment, girls' enrollment, both in primary, senior secondary, and junior secondary, completion rates.
While two chairpersons of the Legislative Committees on Education, Representative Johnson Guagolo and Senator Dallas Goe, have stressed the need for more support to education in Liberia. The two lawmakers lauded the World Bank Group for its support to improving the secondary education in the country.
So we in the legislature, we are grateful for this intervention. And as we endeavor as legislators to increase the size of the component of the national envelope that addresses education, it is pleasing to see partnership involvement in education financing. And the more we celebrate the launch of I-RISE, the more we challenge ourselves as lawmakers and government in general to improve budgetary support to the education sector.
I come from a county where it is difficult for girls to graduate from high school. If you look at all of the statistics being read in Liberia, my county, Riverside, have the worst record.
terms of girls' retention, access, support, increased opportunity, my county is heavily challenged. Because I serve as district education officer, the county education officer, and I was there for the statistics, so I know what I'm talking about. And today, with this program, I believe if the rebels are taking and no rehearsals will be part of that.
For his part, World Bank Liberia country manager Kwema Ntara said the ARAS project will address the gap in the Liberian school system.
The ARAS project is a very important project because it seeks to address one of the mission and shared prosperity, which is education. Once a person is educated, they are empowered to take advantage of various income earning opportunities and are better equipped to deal with various other challenges in their lives. Education is therefore one of the key foundations of human capital development. Access to senior secondary education is still low and inequitable. For example, only 15 girls out of every 100 girls who begin primary education advance to senior secondary education.
Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf wants young female students to build confidence in themselves and push higher for their ambitions. Madam Sirleaf said this can only be achieved if female students concentrate on their education and avoid other influences that will distract them. She spoke Friday in Monrovia at the special program on girl education organized by the Federation of Liberian Youth, FLY.
Each and every one of you here is the lucky one. You're lucky because your mother or your father or your guardian has supported you, have encouraged you to stay in school, and you yourself, because you have to make that decision. No matter what they do to help you, the decision to go to school, to stay in school, has to come from your own heart. And you have to determine that I want to be. You know what Rosanna was saying? She said you will be the one to stand up, to be in the classroom, because sometimes in the classroom, if the girls do not equal the boys, sometimes the girls get a little bit shy, get a little bit reserved. They don't want to do those days, so it is something when the girls want to say, oh man, shut up man, now you busted. You know, the girl not supposed to do that. Girl won't go keep ball, you're not supposed to keep ball. And now you're part of business there, you're supposed to go and hold door, baby. But all that is changed today. This is the generation for women. This is the generation for girls. This is the time when you can be what you want to be, and nobody can stop you.
For his part, FLA President Amos Williams said his organization intends to take the initiative to all major schools in and around Montserrado County.
We at the level of the Federation of Liberian Youth think the best way to start is to start with your voice. And your voice is to stand up and be consistent. And we are here to help you get that voice. Like someone said to me yesterday, sometimes the voice is just by putting your heart up in the classroom and asking that first question. It starts from there. So what we're doing, it calls for a commitment, it calls for a collective support. Your friend next to you will be doing it. She may not call you, but by the virtue that she's a lady and of your age, it requires you to move in there and giving her that support. That voice will start from that person, and then it ends with you. Too many of us have sat too long and have given power to some people who will build trust in. It's about time that we ourselves find our voice to get that power.
And that's all we have time for on this edition of Week in Review. Before we let go of you, a reminder of the top stories we followed. President George Weah urges new Agriculture Minister Jenny Cooper to take practical steps to develop the agriculture sector. Government makes an initial 500,000 United States dollar towards the conduct of the National Population Census. Health authorities say there is no case of coronavirus in the country, despite report of a case. Vice President Joa Howard Taylor launched the Arise project in Liberia. Many thanks to all of you for watching Lntv News Live. Many thanks to our switchers, correspondents, reporters, and editors for making this edition a success. On behalf of the entire production crew here at the Liberia National Television, my name is Edward Tama. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.